Oops, sorry. Okay, now we've got sound. Yay! Alright, I'm always struggling to get things set up, but I think I've got it. We've got one unnecessary camera angle right now, but I have some others that we can get set up in a minute. So what I'm going to be working on today is this Hey Cut Sew pattern. This is style 01919, and this is the sailor shirt and bloomers, and I'm really excited to make this because thanks for the sub, Revival Jan, saying whoop whoop, thank you. I'm really excited to make this because I think it's super cute, and it's kind of like sailor uniform inspired, but it's still like at an original kind of fashion. Artful Jackalope, thanks for the sub. Saying, yay, so glad you're streaming. Been loving the pictures you've been posting on social media. Thank you. Thanks, Artful Jackalope. We've been doing a lot more photo shoots lately, and so it's kind of taking up my time in a different way, but I still like to stream photo progress when I can. And thank you so much for the sub, Tiny Bear 93. Subbing for 6 months, and Artful Jackalope was for 10 months, so you guys have been loyal subs here at our sewing channel. Okay, I am going to switch camera angles now. I haven't even opened up the pattern and looked at it, but I feel pretty confident because I've worked with these before, and they're really easy to use. Let's get that focused. I hope. You're supposed to autofocus. Camera. Alright, let me mess with this. Dragsaw, thank you for the sub, saying, hey, what's up? Not streaming a lot, or has Twitch not been telling me? I have not been streaming a lot, but I'm trying to make that more common. Okay, come on, autofocus. Why do you think you need to be focused really close? Okay, there we go. Let me adjust some other things, because this is super bright. I did not get everything set up before I started, but I did my best. Okay. I think that looks pretty good. I mean, you're gonna be able to see the information that way, I hope. And let me see if I can brighten up my face cam a little bit. Which should be this one. Yay. Yeah, that's probably fine. Put a little bit more contrast in there. Okay, cool. Well, hopefully you guys can see things well enough and hear me, and now we can begin. And I checked to make sure I have more than enough fabric this time, so we're good on all fronts. I'm more prepared this time around than last time. Alright, so here is our pattern. You can see in my table cam. Oh, thank you, Revival Jan. Donated $20, saying, here, take my money. Alright. I set a new goal today, which is a $300 goal, which is a new cosplay voted on by the chat. And my intention with this is to kind of let you guys, because I've recently done some suggestion threads and some like questions where I welcomed people to give me cosplay suggestions for things that you guys want to see, and want to see things that, you know, for me to make or to portray artistically in a photo shoot. And I got some really interesting responses, and there were a lot of trends, which made me realize that I have like I have a type. Like I like to do a lot of fantasy characters, especially elves and space babes, and those are like my main staples of cosplay. But I also do just like lots of girl with sword in general. And a lot of the responses and a lot of the suggestions that I got in that was a lot of girls with swords, and so that made me happy to see. I was like, oh, you guys, you know what I'm up to, you know my type. So I was particularly interested to hear about things that you people who come to the streams regularly or come to the chat would want to see, because like the people who come to my streams I consider like my best supporters, I guess, because you guys are the ones who are here like interacting with me and keeping me company while I'm working on stuff, and I am really appreciative of that. So I basically wanted to decide on a project, like kind of by taking nominations from the chat, and then beyond that, eventually doing a vote, whether it's today or another stream soon. Okay, good. The stream total did update, because last time it was having trouble. Yay. So to take nominations for characters that you want to see, and then beyond that to do a vote at some point. And this is, I want to keep it really open. Ultimately, I'm going to have to be willing to cosplay it, so probably not something that's like super revealing or just like totally outside of my interests. But if it's a character that I'm not familiar with, that people are interested enough, I'll do whatever research I have to make it happen. But my intention with this would probably be to buy a costume rather than make the whole thing. Daddy's Little Monster donated $10 saying, another cosplay? Yes, please. Well, thank you so much for donating toward this goal. I just wanted to like kind of let you know what was up with that, what my plan was for that. And so, starting today, anybody who's here in the chat, please feel free to give some nominations for things, and I'm gonna write these down. I'm gonna write it down on paper because it feels like more real when you do that instead of like opening up another digital document. Oh, we've already got a bunch of stuff coming in. Thank you guys so much for suggestions. Just to try to like kind of get the ball rolling, I don't want you guys to hear from me and then give me only what I want to hear, but some of the strong like suggestions that I heard were like anything from Final Fantasy. I've gotten a lot of requests for anything from Zelda, but I also feel like I want to make my own Zelda costume, so I'm like kind of less inclined to buy one. Anyway, anything from like other kind of fantasy series that I might not be into, but I'll, you know, do some research and find out about characters, such as like Witcher or Fate or what are some of the other big ones? I forget. Oh, Fire Emblem, which I've played some Fire Emblem games, but not gone into a lot of them, but a lot of people are interested in Fire Emblem. So anyway, those are just like some thoughts. It doesn't have to be any one of those, but those are all things that I think are like very, very up my alley aesthetically. So, and I'm also interested in doing another version of 2B, so I don't know which version, so maybe you guys can give suggestions for another one of those. People are saying Red from Transistor. That would be pretty awesome. Eulala from Space Channel 5. That would be so interesting. Aloy from Horizon. That's good. Lynn from Fire Emblem was a really popular response. And I'm going to write that one down because I got so many. And I was honestly surprised because Lynn is like one of the lesser... I don't know, one of the older Fire Emblem characters, I guess. And I think of the newer Fire Emblem characters as being like more trendy, but the fact that everybody was still interested in Lynn really made me notice that. Someone says Lightning from Final Fantasy 13. I've thought about that one before, but I'm interested in a lot of different ones. Petite Pigeon says Breath of Fire 4 Nina. I've talked about doing that one. I've even bought materials before. Anyway, I don't want to spend too much time on that since this is my sewing stream, but I wanted to introduce that idea to the chat and maybe hear some thoughts as we go. In the meantime, I'm going to get started on this. There we go. So there's 2 pages of this. And I am going to start by cutting these pieces out. I'm not going to cut them super closely because that's what our rotary cutter is for when I cut the fabric, kind of all as one thing. But to make that easier, I'm going to like roughly cut the pieces out. Just kind of get rid of the extra paper, and I'll put all this in a recycling bin later. Kara from Detroit Become Human. I've heard of that one. I mean, I've heard that particular suggestion a lot too. I'm going to write that one down. Sarah Star says that the background music sounds familiar. This is Radio Cutman. On YouTube. It's just a 24-hour streaming station that plays a lot of really nice chill beats that are video game inspired, or samples from games and anime. Oh, I need to think about my size, but I'll do that when I'm cutting my fabric. There is a size calculator on Cutso's website, so if you're using one of their patterns and trying to determine what's the best size for you, I recommend checking that out, because that's what I did, and I just know my size based on them telling me. Okay, that's close enough. I'm not going to bother trimming off extra there. Okay. In fact, I will mark my size before I keep cutting. Am I going for a specific Sailor Scout look? No, I'm making just kind of like an original little costume, or like an original outfit, because I didn't want to be like bound to only cosplaying a Sailor Scout. I wanted to just like make something cute that I was happy with. Okay, so I'm going to make the top size medium and the bottom size large is what I ultimately decided for myself, which is something you can do when it's a pattern that has a top and bottom separately. When you're trying to make a dress or something like it's like a jumpsuit or a one piece anything, you would need to stick with one size throughout the whole pattern. But because this is a top and bottom that are totally separate, I can mix and match two different sizes of this pattern. So my top is a size medium. Oh, I'm gonna double check actually that I don't want to make a small. Here's there. Yeah, I'll make a medium. Medium looks comfortable. Yeah, Petite Pigeon asking, or saying, I love the fact that I'm making more casual / Japanese fashion clothing in between cosplays. I've been enjoying it too. It's been a lot of fun. So I'm using a highlighter to mark which line I'm gonna cut on here, so that I don't accidentally pick the wrong one. I don't really need to continue that, so it's all the same on the other side. But this is for the skirt pieces for the top. So I'm just marking those. And these are basically like color coded by, well, they're like value coded rather than color coded. But they have different lines of different like shades of gray for multiple pieces, or for each, to denote each different size. Okay. Making yourself clothes is really cool, says Sochin Litsu. Sorry, I'm not sure what character that is. Thanks. Yeah, I think it's cool too. And I found this fabric that I haven't even really shown off yet. Here you go. It's hard to see. It's like a pastel pink, but it has flecks of gold in it, and it's really, really pretty. And I'll show it here in a minute when I start cutting it, but I'm excited. I'm very excited, in fact. And I found the fabric, and I wasn't entirely sure what I was going to make with it, but just as soon as I saw it, I was like, that's probably going to become a Cutso project. And I bought multiple yards on the spot, because I just love it so much. Oops. I tore my pattern slightly, but it's fine. Okay, so these are cuffs and bow pieces. I'll set those that have been cut aside for now. I'm going to grab my rotary cutter for this. Hey, thanks, Sunshine Regiment. Someone also suggested Kairi from Kingdom Hearts. Actually, a lot of people have said that. I think her outfit from Kingdom Hearts 3 is really cute. I might add that one as my nominations. I think a lot of people would enjoy seeing Kingdom Hearts. Okay, so I'm just like loosely cutting these out to make them easier to work with. Tiny little sleeve. Alright, almost there. Last piece is right here. Hey Aries. Everyone say hi to Aries, who is now behind me over here. Hey baby. This is his favorite cubby to hide in while I'm sewing stuff or when I'm just working in here in general. He hops up beside my serger and makes himself at home. Hello Divinicator. Hey everybody saying hi to Aries. That's the end of the extra paper. Aries, do you want to sew some stuff? You're gonna help me, right? You're not just gonna lay there, take up space. I won't keep my... I won't hold my breath. That's what I'm trying to say. He's helping by supervising? Yeah, I'm sure. Alright. Oh, hello, Evil Ted. Welcome. So we are sewing. I'm gonna resume cutting my pieces out here in just a minute. This is the fabric that I was really excited about. Put it up to this other camera. But it has this really neat metallic texture to it. Oh hey, thanks for the cheer revival, Jan. Well, thank you. Anyway, I'm really excited about this fabric, and we'll cut it out here in just a minute. Yes, Aries. Aries, do you want to say hi to everybody up close? Please don't drink my water. Are you going to stay and say hello? Or are you gonna run off? Yeah, he talks a lot. He's very vocal. Aries. Will you please stay? I'm gonna lay down in my chair. I'll leave this camera on Aries cam if he stays. If he stays, we get Aries cam. I'm gonna put this down over here. All right. Aries, you gonna chill? Alright, I think he's just gonna stay and hang out with me like usual. Alright, I will set this aside momentarily and then spread it out once we're ready to cut. And we need to finish making our highlighter marks. So on any piece that is a part of the top, we need to mark the medium size. And for any piece that is the bloomers, we need to cut the large size, which I think are just these two pieces. The bodice, sleeves, bodice, collar. The bow pieces. Okay, so this is easy. This is all medium, which is the second color. Can't lose this. Aw, thank you, Artful Jackalope. Let's see what we've got here. Because Aries is the best. You are too, but the cat is super handsome. That is very true. Aries, you're turned away from the camera. You hopped up here and made yourself at home, and you won't even face all of our friends over here. Alright, well, I'm not going to force you. Okay, so the second line is the medium size, and then the third line is the large size. We're only thinking about medium right now. Oh, goodbye, Aries. Are you gonna find somewhere else to lay? So I just like to highlight my patterns before cutting the size so that I don't get mixed up on which lines I need. It's a trick I used, or I learned when I was in school doing theater, because when you work in a theater, you're making things in all different sizes all the time, because you're making things for different actors and actresses. And so, versus for myself, where I pretty much know my own size off the top of my head, it's still just convenient when you are working with patterns that are being, used by other people or near other people, where things can easily get mixed up. Oh, here in a minute before I get invested in cutting, I need to go and move my other fabric to the dryer. I bought some plain white cotton sateen. So this is, you need like 2 different colors of fabric for this basically. So it's going to be contrast pink and white. So certain pieces will be white, like I think it'll match whatever her little outfit looks like. So she's got white sleeves and the white top of the dress, and then mine will be pink rather than the purple, but the bloomers will be pink, the skirt part will be pink, the collar part will be pink, and the little details and stuff will be pink. So that's kind of I'm kind of basing it off of this, just using my own fabric, obviously. And so these white parts will be white. And so that fabric I needed to toss into the wash machine before getting started. And so in a minute after I mark this, I will also go and make sure that that's ready. Oh, here, you know what? I'll stop making you look at that. Here, you can look more at what I'm doing up here. Oh, anyway, I need to go swap my fabric over. We'll start by cutting all the pink stuff, and then if I get that far, we can cut the white fabric as well. Okay. So this one, I need the size large, which is the ash gray, which is the second largest. This one is small to extra large are the sizes, and you can see the size chart online to see the corresponding measurements. But I'm not 100% sure that I need a large. I might be fine in a medium, but I wanted to make it a little bit extra, or to have a little bit extra fabric, because I'm not doing a mock-up, I'm just jumping in. Because I trust these patterns, and I'm sure it's well put together, but at the same time, you know, every individual is different. Everybody's body is different, and so the same pattern fits different people different ways. And so, also keeping that in mind, I wanted to have wiggle room. It's a good idea to size up. Certainly if you're between sizes, not necessarily if you are, if you're spot on with the measurements on the pattern, then you're probably okay, but if you're like between sizes, especially, and you want to like fine tune the fit and double check that everything's going to be the right size for you, it's a good idea to size up when in doubt, because it's much, much easier to make something smaller than to make it bigger. You can't add fabric after you cut it off, unless you're adding a new panel. Alright. So that's all of my pieces highlighted and cut for now. I'm gonna hop over to my laundry room and just make sure that cotton fabric, the white fabric, is in my dryer so that I can hopefully cut that before the end of the stream, and then I'll be right back and start cutting the pink stuff. fabric is drying, and I'm ready to cut the pink stuff. So let me check in with the chat here before I do that. Hey guys. Who does Aries spend more time with, me or Jared? Definitely me. He's been my cat. He was my cat before we met Jared, so, you know.
You're listening to Radio Cushion.
Okay. Alright everybody, I'm going to go ahead and start cutting things out. I'm going to divide up my pattern pieces between the white and the pink before I start so that I don't accidentally cut something out of a different fabric than what I want. So starting with the bloomers, I know those are both going to be pink. The bow will be pink. The sleeves will be white. The collar will be pink. And the bodice, front and back, will both be white. Here, I also have skirt panels that will be pink. And finally, the cuffs and the bow will both be pink as well. Okay, so I have a lot of pink pieces and very few comparative of the others. I'm wondering, is that, I didn't see a waistband piece, so maybe the top just folds down on those bloomers. We'll see. We'll see as we go, but I'm going to start out by cutting. So I'm going to set these white fabric pieces aside and lay out my pink fabric. Hey, thank you, Bob the Samurai, for the resub. Was there a comment? No comment with that. Alright, well thanks. That was a resub for 13 months. That is awesome. So we'll just briefly set that aside. And then lay out my beautiful pink fabric. Which I don't think there's a lot of cutting on the fold on this one. Maybe on a couple pieces, but I don't even know. I didn't see any. I'll double check it. Here we go. I just love this stuff. It's so like pastel and metallic at the same time, which is just my weakness. Alright. So you generally want to start cutting the largest pieces first so that you don't find that you are running out as you go and then you don't have enough left to cut the larger pieces. What kind of fabric is this? It's something that I found at Joann's. I think it was like a seasonal designer fabric. I don't know the like name of it because stuff like that is like just the inventory is kind of different in different places. Drinking my water, sorry. But overall, I don't remember how much I paid for this, but it wasn't super expensive, and I definitely used a coupon. I want to say it was somewhere between, I think the fabric might have been like originally priced at $20 a yard, but then I got it with a coupon, so it was more like $10 a yard or something like that. I think it was about that price, because I was really happy to have a coupon for it, but I also just like did not want to pass it up and made sure I got it while I could. Alright, when you're laying your pattern pieces out, you want to be mindful of the direction of this arrow, and you want that to go along the grain of the fabric, which we are. And these are pattern weights, which their job is to hold the pattern down. The Casual Viking, thank you for the resub for 6 months. saying, great to catch a stream again. Thank you for coming back to my streams. I'm glad to be streaming again. Took a little bit of a break while I was handling stuff. I am going to be, oh that's right, I'm going to CoxCon in the UK next week. So on Tuesday I am departing on a plane, and then I'll be there throughout the weekend when there's another convention. It's in Telford in the UK. I'm not super familiar with the geography of England, but that's where it is. But I'm very excited about that trip, and so I won't be streaming next week because I'll be in England, but hopefully resuming this project immediately upon my return. So there will be a little bit of break before my next stream on this project specifically. But I am getting this one done soon. This is kind of like my next ongoing project. Oh, hello Triforce Nerd. Any other cons coming up soon? Asks Revival Jan. Yeah, I'm going to be in a Dragon Con in Atlanta at the end of August as well. And those are my two main cons that I have coming up, is CoxCon this weekend and then Dragon Con in August. And that's mostly it for me. I'm also planning on being at TwitchCon later on in the year, but there's a little bit of a break. Alright. This fabric is a little bit stubborn, so I'm just being really careful as I separate the pieces to make sure I didn't, there aren't any still connected threads. Puina asking, what's the benefit of using fabric waste over pinning to the fabric? Pinning to the fabric takes more time, and it also makes the surface lumpy because those pins are going up and down through the fabric, and you want to try to avoid that as much as you can. So for me, fabric weights are a lot faster, and you can use almost anything as a fabric weight. Like, you don't have to go and buy like a special item necessarily. Depending on how creative you can get with stuff you find around your house, you can make your own. But yeah, I would just say they're easier to deal with and faster, and using a rotary cutter is faster than scissors. So those are just little ways that you can make the whole process go by quicker. So there's our first skirt pattern. I love how this fabric is like quite shifty. I think I'm gonna end up lining this. We'll see. Maybe I won't. Maybe I won't. But I will put this aside for now. Let me see if my other rotary cutter is around here. It might be sharper. Here it is. I have two of these guys. Yeah, Dragon Con is an amazing con. Oh, this one is a cut on hold piece. Well, that's fine. I'm gonna turn it over. So I'm gonna actually cut this one on the line. So I want to keep everything oriented in the same direction when I cut it. Probably be best to to iron my paper pattern pieces too, but I don't really want to spend the time on that today. Okay, so I'm flipping this over, I'm just looking at the back so that I can line it up there. I wish that I had cut this one first and I wouldn't be, losing that amount of fabric or separating it from the other side, but that was my own foolishness for not checking to see that both of those can be done that way. And actually, before I cut this, I'm going to quickly look through my other pieces here and see if I can kind of get anything out of that space. I guess really the ideal way to do this is to make sure that you are, see, like this one. That would be great. Or maybe this one. Oh, that's like perfect. Okay, well this piece will come out of here. And this can get scooted down just barely to make sure that there's enough room. What about this guy? Oh, heck yes. Okay, cool, so nothing was lost. I'll just make sure that these little ones get cut out of this section before I move down. Anyway, if you are especially trying to conserve fabric and you're unsure if you have enough or something like that, you want to be especially careful and strategic with what order you cut things in and how you lay them out. And so I'm going a little bit fast. But luckily, I was able to salvage it. And anytime you're close to the edge, you want to make sure that your pieces are, lined up. Sorry, that your pattern piece is lined up with both the top and bottom layer of your fabric, which we are good. Yeah, I think this blade is sharper. We'll see if it has the same problems. Oh, I think there's a nick in it. Let's see. Yeah, I think just this fabric doesn't want to cut completely cleanly. So you kind of have to go check it. Okay. separated cleanly. We've got another piece ready. Guy. I think my goal for this stream is to at least get all the fabric cut, since this has quite a few more pieces than the last one that I did, the last cut sew pattern streams. At the very least, I'll try to get all the fabric cut, and then next week we'll begin assembling all of it, and try to get it done pretty quickly that way. Okay, it's another little guy. Oh, I just love how this fabric sparkles. Here we go. I can barely see the camera from the angle that I'm at. That is really fun. I can use my monitor actually. It's much easier. Oh, hey, Kia Nocturne, sorry, I always forget how to pronounce it. Kia Nocturne is a friend of mine from Texas. Thank you for stopping by my stream. Something pink with flecks of gold. Yeah, I love it. I love it so much. Yeah, sorry, Red Bard. We don't know the actual type of fabric. It was a mystery, like, seasonal knit fabric from Joanne, and I just, like, pounced on it as soon as I saw it. I was like, well, I'm gonna need... I actually bought the rest of the bolt. I took it up to the cutting counter, and I was gonna get, like, 3 yards, just so that I would have a little bit to work with, and not sure what I would make with it, so I didn't know, I didn't need, like, a specific amount. I just wanted to have some. And when she started unfolding it to cut it, there were only 4 yards on the bolt, so I was just like, yes, I will take all of them. So I just immediately, like, bought the rest of it. Oh, that's annoying. My piece is back. Slipped out of place. That's okay. Alright, so here's a little bow knot. Oh, I guess I only needed one of those. Oh well, whatever. Alright, now it's time to cut this big boy over here. The skirt piece that needed to be cut on the fold. And it is laid out, the fold is right here. knitted piece ready to go. We've got someone here in the chat giving us some Joanne's sale insider knowledge. That was C. Dugan88. Thank you so much for that tip. I was just thinking that, it's a bummer I'm not using my 20% off coupon that expires today. But now that you say that, I guess I'm just going to have to go make my fabric run tomorrow. And I will have lost nothing by the sounds of it. And yeah, I love knit fabrics, so I'm going to go and check them out. Here's more of that shiny fabric. Oh, if you're a Joann's employee, you might know what this is. Some people were asking. I got this from Joann's. I know that it's one of the designer knits, I believe. And it's this like gold foil with pink. And I bought the rest of the bolt. I don't remember what it is. So a couple people were asking. If you happen to know, great. If not, whatever. Thank you. Oh, thank you, Hydration Bot. Actually, it's good timing because I do want a sip of my water. I've got some water sitting here. It might have been one of the Casa Collection holiday fabrics. That would not surprise me. It was probably like a seasonal spring thing because it definitely has that kind of vibe. Well, thank you for the fabric tips. Let's see, moving along with our cutting here. What have we got? We'll keep going in order of like the larger pattern pieces, which we are all the way down to the bloomers now. I need to make sure that I maintain the same orientation on the pattern pieces. But I'm going to pull the fabric out and see kind of what's the best way to lay them out. Yeah, that's kind of fun. I definitely have enough of this fabric left over to make some other projects, but I'm not entirely sure what. So I'd like to conserve it as much as possible. I'm also wanting to look really good and hard at it and kind of decide whether there is a difference, like whether I can orient things perpendicular without it being obvious, which would be like this. Now I'm just looking at it from different angles. So different fabrics have like different appearances based on which angle you're looking at them from. Velvet is a really easy example of that, which when you're working with velvet or velour a lot of the time, you want to make sure that your fabrics are all going the same direction when you cut them. And a lot of satins can be that way too, where if you cut it perpendicular or if you cut it kind of like, if these two are both supposed to go this way and I cut them like this, depending on the fabric you might be able to tell. And just looking at this and how it appears on camera and how it appears from different angles, I don't think that is the case. I think this looks more or less identical from different angles. So with that in mind, I am going to go ahead and cut these other pieces perpendicular basically, because that will help me conserve fabric. I'll waste less that way, and that is generally the goal. So that's what we're going to do. It would also allow me to fit them both onto the fabric kind of this direction. Oh, wait. This is another cut on fold. Dang it. Come on, Heidi. Alright, if I have to cut this one on the fold, then it has to be cut there for sure. So let's do that first. There's that fold. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and cut this one first. If anybody else here tonight has cosplay suggestions, things to nominate for what should I consider for this new cosplay goal here on Twitch, feel free to continue posting suggestions and I will continue considering them. And then whatever like the top suggestions are will end up getting voted on among people who attend some future stream. We'll give it a little bit of time. Well, kind of depending on how quickly I meet that goal, I guess. Alright, there's that. Mitsuru and Terra, ooh. Terra's a good one. Terra's a dream costume, though. I would definitely not buy that one. I would absolutely have to make that one. And it would cost more than $300, unfortunately. But Mitsuru is a wonderful suggestion. That's the Persona 3, I believe. Character. There is my collar piece. Oh my gosh, this is so cute. Laying this out, I'm just imagining. My pink. Yeah, Persona 3. That's right, I remember Mitsuru. I played part of Persona 3, but I didn't finish it, so I'll have to check that out. Everyone's talking about all of their craft supply addictions. Zelda from the new Smash? Ooh, I would love to make Zelda from the new Smash, but that one is also definitely, I have to make that costume. So whatever I pick for this new cosplay voted by the chat, or I guess whatever we pick based on your votes, has to be like something that I'm comfortable with just like buying. And I'll make some alterations if necessary. Or make certain pieces of it if necessary, but I don't want to make something that's like really complicated from scratch. Because my general idea here is to choose a costume that I don't have to make based on your suggestions. Okay, so these guys can be lined up like so. That. It really doesn't matter which direction these are oriented in, and that would be the most, and this would conserve the most fabric. Alright, let's do it. Let's try it anyway. Pull this down a little bit. Cat Chat just checked out my Instagram, says they're new here. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. I'm glad to hear you like the costumes that we make here. This is a cut sew pattern that I'm working with if you're just joining us. I haven't shown this in a while. That is, that is the project that we are currently making. This is a little sailor shirt in bloomers, and you can buy this pattern from cutsew.co, and they're great. So that's what we're up to. If anybody is just joining and curious, that's what all of these pieces add up to be. Oh yeah, it does look like these are going to fold over, so there's not a separate waistband. That's kind of nice. That should make them even faster to assemble, which all of these patterns are like designed to be very super beginner friendly and very like easy to sew. And so far, this one looks like it's going to be quite simple to put together, although it has a little bit more detail than the last thing that I made from them. Oh, and I do have a cut sew coupon pattern. It's not a paid coupon, so I don't get any sort of money for anybody using it. But if you do use it, they get points, and they think that I'm nice and I'm good. So go ahead and use Heidi10 for 10% off cut sew orders. If you end up getting anything from them, just to let them know that I'm still getting the word out. But I do just genuinely really love these patterns, and I like making the kind of street fashion style clothes in between costumes. Because I just get really burnt out when I make really complicated projects. I like get too much in my head about them, and they take a long time, and then depending on how long they take, I optionally beat myself up over not finishing them. And it's always much more refreshing to make something that I can put together in just a few work days. Heading to bed, Jerica. Well, thank you so much for coming by the stream. Have a lovely evening. Sleep well. Well then, MX Crappy, you're gonna get some of their patterns. I hope that you do, and I hope you do use that coupon code for me. Like I said, I don't make money off of it, but it makes them like me, and I'd love to maintain a good relationship with them. Plus, it's a discount, so you know. Go for it. Get your money. Alright. Well, thank you, Jerica. I'm glad you always have a good time here. Daddy's Little Monster is also trying to decide which patterns to get. Well, I really like making that bear pinafore as well, and I got I actually have several patterns to work with now. So this is like the one that I wanted to make as a streaming project, but I also got what they call the norm core pattern, which is it's like a basic t-shirt and leggings pattern. So I got that one, and then I got another one that's a hoodie dress. I'm really excited about putting a hoodie dress together, especially. But one thing at a time. That's right. Good relationship does equal more patterns, but with sponsored projects like these, because it is still a sponsored project, and that they did send me the pattern to make it, but it's still a huge time commitment, and I spent money on all the materials and everything. So I'm certainly not being bribed to do these, I guess is the main takeaway. But I do love them, and I do love making these projects. And so if you want to continue to see me making these projects, it's one of the ways you can support that, is by just using that code if you happen to make a purchase. Alright, and these are two of the last pink pieces. Let's make sure this other rectangular guy fits in that little window before I cut it, because I'd love to have quite a bit of this pink fabric left over and be ready to make something else with it. Oh, you made the bear pinafore already, Daddy's Little Monster? That's awesome. You're thinking Normcore and the Day Maxi? Oh, that's a good one too. I have that Normcore. Haven't made it yet, but leggings and t-shirts, yeah, that's like it's a staple. It's hard to go wrong with that. So I honestly just wanted another leggings pattern for costumes and for personal use. Okay. How beginner friendly would I say their patterns are? I would say they are extremely beginner friendly. That's one of their like kind of main principles behind their designs, is that they want everything to be very accessible and very beginner friendly and like very not scary. And so the patterns definitely fall under that description, if you ask me. The instructions are easier to read, and the stuff is easy to do. They don't have like really super complicated seam lines or anything like that. So I would highly recommend these for someone who's interested in getting into sewing and just hasn't yet. This is a really good way to start. And I would say that both this one and the Bear Pinafore are probably like weekend long projects. Like if you started on a Friday or even on a Saturday, if you put in like 2 long work days, you could get it done Saturday and Sunday, or like Friday to Sunday, kind of depending on what pace you work at. So if you need something to keep you occupied one weekend, sit down and watch your favorite anime or Let's Player or whatever else on a marathon and get your cut sew on. there. I'm gonna cut these two out and then take a quick break while I get the rest of my fabric ready. And that will be probably my stream goal, is to just cut out the rest of the white pieces and then probably call it a day. Okay, here's that other bow piece. This is like the end of that. Alright, there we go. Those are the rest of our pink pieces. I'm just going to cut off the kind of extra pieces. We'll leave that attached. Fold the rest of this up. Without making a huge mess of it. Okay. Yay. I might refold that later, but it's good for now. I've got quite a bit of this left over, so that's awesome. Okay, I'm gonna set this aside and I'm gonna sit down and eat my Cliff Bar because I'm hungry. So these are the pieces I still have to cut out before the end of the stream. It's actually only 3 pieces, so that shouldn't take very long. And that is out of the fabric that I have currently sitting in my dryer. My Splatoon shoes is universal. Those are cute. I love those Splatoon shoes. They're some of my favorites. I need to eat a real dinner as soon as my stream is done. But I'll do this first. Yeah. It's not quite a real social eating stream, but I'm gonna take a minute. Oh, Daddy's Little Monster made other pinafores? I don't think I saw those. Did you, like, tweet me or tag them? Tag me? Because you should. I would love to see those pinafores. And you said you put other stuff on there? I'd love to see what you put on there. It's not a bear. Like, did you choose another animal? Just taking a look at our other pattern pieces. This one needs to be cut on the fold. These kind of, the line with the arrow indicates that, and it will say so on the text. But that's kind of like your your first clue is whenever you see the like lines with the arrow pointing to the edge, it's a piece that gets cut on the fold. So I need to make sure that I cut this one first and cut it on the fold, and then cut the other two pieces out of whatever fabric is left over after that. Daddy's Little Monster says they did regular pockets, but sewed on a Mickey Mouse patch and a Harry Potter one for the Slytherin one. That sounds awesome. And yeah, like a house, Harry Potter house pinafore sounds like a great idea. So yeah, I'm gonna take the last few bites of this and I'll go grab my other fabric and then call it a day after we get those last couple pieces cut out. And then my next stream will be after I return from London. Or not, well, I am flying back from London, but I'll be in Telford when I get to the UK. So the next stream will be after that, but hopefully at that point I'll be just like rolling through. Yeah, that pinafore is really easy to make like house themed, but also this like sailor shirt could probably be really cute if you do a theme with it, like a Harry Potter theme, or a couple of different people have said like Sailor Scouts from like Sailor Moon and stuff, but this is just a normal like sailor shirt and bloomer pattern. It's just like a generic pattern and you just use whatever fabric you want, so that's what we're doing today. Alright. I'm done with my snack. I'm gonna go grab my fabric and then we will cut these last pieces. Fabric is dry and it's nice and warm. So this is just some white cotton sateen. It's like the Joanne brand. I forget what it's called. But very nice stuff, easy to work with. So I'm cutting this on the fold, but exactly where I put that fold and how I deal with it is my own choice. This is a sew edge. No, this is how it was sold. Alright. Yeah, I might as well just line it up the other way and get more out of it that way. I think. So with a lot of woven, especially simple woven fabrics, like this is just a simple cotton sateen, you can orient them, like whether you have your pattern pieces along the grain or the cross grain, is a lot of the time it's not super important depending on how like structural your piece is. Maybe it is sometimes, but for the most part, like this one is not important. We can line it up where we want to. So. There is our fold. Just one moment. You want me to be Judge Anderson from Dredd? Says Universal. Well, thank you. That's from the newer movie or from another Dredd? Because I know Dredd is like an older series that's had like various like revivals and versions. I forget, was that like a comic at one point, or was it just an older film? I honestly don't remember. But I have seen the like somewhat newer one with the Carl Urban Judge Dredd movie. Yeah, the comic is 2080, but the movie version of the suit is the best. Alright, well, I'll consider that. I have seen the movie, and I did enjoy the movie. Although it's not my usual style. But hey, there's nothing wrong with that. I also just really like it when people get enthusiastic about wanting to see me cosplay stuff, even when it's really random stuff that I'm not necessarily familiar with, because it's just charming to think that anybody cares that much. So if you are actually excited about seeing me in it, then it's a good motivator. This fabric is considerably easier to cut through. So that's nice. There's our cut on fold piece. That was the only one that we had to be extra thoughtful about where we put it. Now we have 2 pieces left. Have I acquired Shining Resonance for Fraying yet? No, not yet. I haven't played a lot of those, but I've heard, some of my friends were really into it. Have like already done costumes from it. So I've heard good things. Okay. Can I fit this here? I can. How close can I get it? Not bad. dump out the pattern weights and slide them around. It's so much faster than sitting and pinning stuff. And finally, I'll position this after I get that one cut out, but that should fit pretty nicely right around there. So let's cut this one first. These are the sleeve pieces. Getting these little white sleeves ready. Oh, that's awesome. Daddy's Little Monster is thanking me for sharing the fabric resource that I used for the blue bodysuit, which was, I don't know, I ended up going to Joann's a lot, even when I lived in LA and had access to the fabric district, just because it was so much closer and more convenient. But now it's one of my only main fabric options, so that's where I get a lot of my stuff now. But yeah. Cool, so this fits beautifully right here. Got my arrow lined up, it looks good. And this will be our last piece of this pattern. Last piece, cutting height. Ooh, I don't think I've heard this track before. I like this. This station, I listen to it like all the time, so you know it is a finite playlist, and you do eventually become very familiar with everything on it. But I think this might be a newer track. I'm into it. And this is Radio Cut Man, once again, for anyone who's curious and enjoying the music. Check out Radio Cut Man. Cool. So I only bought 1 yard of this white because I didn't need very much, but I have a little bit of extra left over here. Maybe I can certainly make something small or a part of something with this piece. So I'll do that. And this is just cotton sateen, and so it's one of my go-to fabrics. Will almost certainly come in handy in the future. any of the bigger scraps I tend to hold on to because I can use them to test my settings on my serger. So like this is, you know, not really useful sizes for making things, but I hold on to small samples of like leftover fabric so that I can do little stitching samples and stuff like that. So the more useful scraps get to hang out for a little bit longer than the rest of them. Alright, last piece over here. This arms I cut out. Komoshika says, Joanne's really upped its game on in the last matter of years. That's very true. I was also living in Dallas for a long time, so I'm familiar with the fabric stores out there. And well, I miss Golden Door, but I have used quite a bit of Joann's fabrics over the years. And Joann's is always one of the like more reliable places to get like basic colors of cotton. You can get like basic cotton in whatever color you need, and a lot of staples and stuff. Any type of fleece. They absolutely have fleece. Alright, and with that, my pieces are all cut out. It's exciting. So this is the bodice front. My bodice is all white, and my bloomers and shirt and collar and all of that is that pink stuff. So my pieces are ready. So I'm going to call it a night right here, at least for streaming, because I'm really hungry and I'm going to go get myself a proper meal instead of just eating a quick bar. But I got quite a bit done tonight and I'm pretty happy about that, just having my pieces cut out. Took about an hour and a half. But that's okay. Now we're ready to start really making things next time. So that's the plan. Let me check in everything here in the chat. Yeah, I get a lot of fabric online these days too, and just order swatches because I am a lot more isolated in Seattle. There are like a couple different specialty fabric stores, but they really tend to be small. So I've gotten in the habit of ordering swatches, checking the fabric, and then ordering whatever fabric I like the most based on those samples. So that's what I do when I can't find a nice fabric that I want locally. Mew Medic is asking, how much is the bottom half of the top gathered? I don't know, but I think quite a bit because just by judging on the pattern pieces. I'm sorry, I can't answer that yet since I haven't done that yet, but if you tune into future streams, then you'll see me handle that part and I can give you a specific answer. Petite Pigeon says that the stream helped give them the extra push to trace the pattern for tomorrow's sewing project. Well, good. I'm really glad to hear that. Alright, I will go ahead and sign off now. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and hanging out with me, and I will continue this as soon as I'm back from the UK, which will probably be, I think I'm gone for like a full week. So, not next Saturday, but maybe the following week after that. Alright, thank you guys so much, and I will talk to you later.